Hey folks, well I'm actually back. I said I was done, but to continue this video a little bit longer because I did some measuring and the wheel and this pulley are 5/8 in diameter. Yeah, I'm not using metric because that's what they are. And as well, 5/8 is like 0.630. See if I can do this in my lap. And calipers, if I take my calipers, now this isn't the best way of doing it, but 610. So I think the inside diameter of that is 5/8 as well. And another way I can confirm that is if I go to my bolt bin, grab a 5/8 bolt, and it fits in there. Now it's a tiny bit loose, so that's why I don't want to just use a 5/8 rod, because it wouldn't fit quite tight enough, because that's what this is. It's kind of hard to do this, and if I put this over, you can hear it rattling around inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that other piece of rod right here. This is just cold rolled mild steel, and I'm going to turn it down so I get a nice snug fit on that nipple. So let me get you set up on the overhead view, and we'll turn some of this down. I don't know, the problem is I'm gonna need a fair length of it, so I'm gonna have to use my tailstock and set it up, so it's gonna be a little tricky. So let me get you all set up and we'll see if this little mini lathe can do the job. Alright, I got you set up in a way that you should be able to see what's going on. Now, caveat, I'm not a machinist and I don't pretend to be one. I own a mini lathe, and I'm just slowly learning how to use it. So now what I should be able to do is take this rod, and I can't remember if this piece will fit all the way through or not. I'm going to take this off, hence the quick release is nice. It fits all the way in. So there we go. Now I can reattach this. Tailstock. So we need it. Now I've got the tailstock. I've got a center drill mounted in there because we're going to be using the dead center to hold this piece. Because if you stick this out too far, it's too flexible, it doesn't cut right. And say, don't take any of this as machining gospel, because I am just learning what to do. I'm learning as I go. Okay, first test of the cam lock. Let's see if we can put a center hole in here. You know what, first things first, we can't do that yet because we need to do what's called facing. We gotta face that off so it's perpendicular to this edge. Let me grab this tool. This isn't a very good tool post either. I'm hoping to upgrade it. There we go. She was bound up. So I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to turn this at a bit of an angle. This whole tool post, kind of like that. I should actually put a handle on here and make a new bolt with an actual handle. Okay, so now we're going to get this lined up in such a way, but because I have this cross slide the way it is, it's not, I don't normally have it at this angle, but it allows me to get closer to the chuck. It's hard to explain, but you'll understand. So it's gonna make it tricky to face this. I should have faced it before turning this, because you need to lock this carriage down. So we'll do it by denial and error here and see what we can come up with. Actually, no, I can still do it. Never mind. I just have to back it up. Duh. So, fire this on. That'll be good enough for what we're doing. So now I can take this tool and spin it again. Actually, I gotta get rid of it. And we'll back this out of the way and move the carriage over, making sure that nothing hits, and it doesn't. Yeah, I didn't get that faced perfect, and it was chattering pretty bad, but I probably should have less stick out. But it is what it is. So now what we can do is take this guy and bring it in. And fire up the unit, and we're going to come in and just put a little hole. That should do just fine. Now, what we do, this is by no means a precision machine shop. I do my best, but now we're going to put this dead center on. The tip is a little messed up, but so we take this chuck out. It's on a taper, so it friction fits. Just slap it in like so. The reason the tip was messed up was I forgot to put some oil on it when I was using it. I really need to get a live center where there's a bearing in there, and so that's on my list. While I'm at it, I'll straighten that out. Calibrated eyeball. Nice and tight. Now what we can do is loosen off the piece in the chuck, and we can bring it way out like so. That'll allow us to machine in here. I also have a steady rest, but I've never used it. In this situation, it wouldn't do us any good. And I'm just going to guesstimate how much I need. Like so. Now you bring this guy in. I'll lock it. Ooh. And then we'll tighten it up. Put some oil on it. I've got some oil here. So it's just a metal on metal with oil on the bearing surface. Oh. It's like so. Because otherwise this whole bar would just want to spin and spin out and not run true. So we'll just turn it by hand, like that, and then we lock this into place. Feels okay. Might be a little tight. Now I'm going to turn it on slow. And there you go. So now it's spinning and we can run the cutter the whole length. assuming I can reach into here. And we're turning this down to just proud of 5/8. I think I actually have to turn this tool post a little bit as well. I think that's how I did this before. Very limited with this guy. So if I move the carriage over, see it hits and I can't get to this edge. Cannot remember how I did that last time. I probably backed this up. See, this is definitely not an optimum setup. How did I do it, folks? I think I angled this even more. So let's do that. I'll just have to be careful coming this direction. I don't hit the chuck. This is why I didn't do a machining video before, because it's me figuring it out and you coming along. I'm sure there's probably a better way of doing this, but if I do it that way, keep this. See how move the cross slide in where it needs to be. Oh yeah, this will work better, folks. So I want to be able to get right into that edge without having this cross slide compound too far. There, we're gonna call it good right there. I'm sure you're gonna hear some chatter on this as well, but it is what it is. If you want some actual good machining videos, you should go check out Blondie Hacks, fellow Canadian. She does really good videos. So, okay. Compound still seems okay. And see how we can run all the way to that point. So let's start cutting some metal and see how she works. And there you go, first pass. That was a really light cut, not a very great surface finish, but we'll keep whittling this down until we get to a little bit bigger than that 5/8, and then I can always slowly dial it in. So I'll bring you back once I have that cut down. Alright, well, I've been aiming for about 16 millimeters, give or take. I don't want to go undersized, so it's actually getting not a bad finish on it. And we are at 16.2. So I'm going to leave it at that to start with. We'll back the tool off and we're going to see what happens with this guy. It won't fit, I'm pretty sure. I know it won't fit, but it's very close. So what I might do, oh yeah, it's really close. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna use some emery and that and polish it and see if that'll get us fitting, if it's going to fit or not, just by polishing it and getting it all smooth. So let's do that for a little bit and see what happens. I'm going to put this back in place so that I don't lose the part. I was oiling this every time to make sure that it didn't burn. Okay, start polishing. I'll polish it up and I'll bring it back once it fits nice. Okay, I think I got her good. It's not a mirror finish, but it's not too shabby. It's nice, pretty smooth. I can feel the odd little nick with my fingernail, but I think she'll be okay. So now it's gonna fit, because I already tested it before I was polishing. But what I'm curious is, did I go too far and it's going to be too loose? But then I was thinking, once I press fit this into the bandsaw, it's probably going to pinch it just a hair. So a tiny bit of slop, but barely any. Probably a little more than I was hoping for, but I'm just curious. Way less than a 5/8 bolt. So when this is all installed, I'm going to grease all this in here as well, so that grease will have a little bit of a spot to run in. But yeah, I think that's going to work. So the next step will be to cut this down and fit it in the bandsaw housing or body or whatever we want to call it. Well folks, I'm back working on the saw again. It's been a few weeks since I worked on this. I machined down this shaft on the one video, and I had footage of working on this, cutting down that what is it, brass pipe nipple, but I don't know what the heck happened to it. It's gone, so it wasn't great footage anyway. So in any case, it was machining this down outside and inside, so that goes on here. Sorry about the glare, but it goes on there and there's really no slop. So what I'm going to try to do today is get it installed in here and see how it goes. It should be a somewhat tight fit, press fit, but if it's a little too loose, I do have some sleeve retaining compound. So in any case, I'll get you up on a tripod and let's see if we can get this piece put in. Moment of truth. Let's see if we can get this bushing into place. I did taper it a little bit, relieved it, whatever you want to call it. So hopefully it'll go in, and there's actually a lip in there, so it might be a little tricky, but and I'm going to leave it whatever length. I'm going to make it flush on the back side and leave it proud here, because this pulley can be wherever it needs to be as far as getting the motor hooked up. So I'll get myself a hammer and let's see if she'll go. Well, that went in way too easy. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop it back out and put a little bit of bearing retainer on there just to make sure that it can't come loose again. I'll just use, what could I use here? Actually, I could use this to push it back out without damaging it. Should fit in there nice. Fits in there good. Spins. Let's pop her back out. It's got a little bit, could have went just a tiny bit bigger on this piece, but I have this stuff, I think I showed in a previous video. I'll just put a little bit on there. It's kind of like Loctite, but it's extra thin. Because once this is in, I don't want it to be able to come back out. I guess I could drill, put some set screws in or something like that, but this stuff will do the job. Smear it around a bit. Once, would probably be able to come back out, but you'd have to probably heat it to get it loose again. So I'm going to put this in, I'm going to have to let that set up. I know this isn't quite the right material for a bearing, but I think brass has more bearing qualities in it, but this should do the job. So now I have no choice, but I'm gonna have to let that set up, and then I think what I'm also gonna do is I'm gonna drill here and either put a drill through the sleeve and either put a grease zerk or something in here so a person can get some lubrication into this, just to keep things moving nice and smooth. But feed that through there. Let's just try putting a little bit of oil on there and spin it and see how she goes. I just have some of this all-purpose lubrication oil. I think it's like sewing machine oil. We'll just put some on there. It's probably going to be noisy when it's running, but that doesn't feel too bad. I'm looking at it, it's like it's going to be better than it was. Yeah, that should be. Probably go from the back side as well. And really, there's just a tiny hint of movement in there. So I think this is going to work pretty good. That should support things, and I won't have to do something like this on there as well. So I'm going to let this set up, and on the next video, we're going to see if we can get this fixed and figure out the pulley, because it's actually going to be out like this, because the pulley's going to go on here and so on. We'll have to see if I'm probably going to have to try to figure out how to do a keyway, or else I'll just use some grub screws or something and drill little divots in there so that the grub screws hit that. But that'll be for the next one. So slowly coming along. I think this might we might get this revived yet. In any case, until next time, take care and talk to you later.